Okay, so now we are in the next part, which is the email. Email, this is not really essential, but there are some plugins, some blocks, and some features in the template which basically use the mail function in PHP. So just to give you an example, there is a script which will send you an email notification if your station is offline. There is a script which you can set up daily notifications about your conditions, and again, you will get an email every day. For this to work, however, you need to have a mail server installed on your server, and it has to be installed properly. And in some cases, it just doesn't work. If people are using their own server, they might not have it configured properly, or your provider doesn't allow this. Either way, it's not essential. But as I said, if you want to check if that email will work, then you simply put your email address here, whatever address you want, and then you click test email. And what this will do is it will send an email using the same function that's used all over the template. So if you enter your email here and you click test email and you do not receive the email, it means something is wrong with your with your mail server. And in such case, there is no point in using the mail functions in the template because they will not work either. So this is just for you to test. This has no other use. So now we get to station location. Now, here we have a map, right? And because this is the first time I'm opening this, it's just set to 0, 0. And so you zoom out, and you simply drag the marker to wherever you are. And you see that as I'm dragging the marker, the coordinates change. It will also try to guess the right country and city, but you want to make sure that this is right, and you want to check that. This uses the Google geocoding, and it might not always get it right. So one other thing to make sure is try to put the marker as accurately as possible, because this position is used for many things, and for example, the sunrise times, the sunset times, and if you have this incorrectly, then these times will not be right, and there will be other problems. So you just zoom in to wherever you are. So in my case, I would go to Europe, and I would zoom to Czech Republic. At least you will now see where my country is. It's right here, and I'm from Brno. Now, this, what I just did, is not the right way of doing this because I'm still quite zoomed out. So I zoom in even more, and now I see, okay, well, this is not where I live, and I would just drop the marker to where I live. Again, this is not even, I would go as close as something like this, and now I just make sure I put it there, right there. Okay, now here we see that it already filled in the country code. This is the ISO2 code of your country. It's written here, and it's always a 2-letter code of your country, so you want to make sure that this is correct. In my case, it would be CZ. If you're from other country, it would obviously be different. So it could be US, it could be GB, ES would be Spain, DE would be Germany, IT would be Italy, etc. And here is the city. This is the name of my city, and it got it right because I live in a relatively large city. But if you're living in some small town, this might not work very accurately. And last thing to do is you specify the elevation, in other words, the height above the sea level where your station is located. So, and you select if that number, so you put a number here, and here you just select if that number is in meters or feet. Next thing is the time zone. So PHP has some built-in time zones, and they include all the time zones. And so obviously your city might not be here, but you should be able to find a city that uses the same time zone as you. So in my case, I would put in, as you can see, there is no Brno here, but we're in the same time zone as Prague, so I just select Europe, Prague. One more thing I forgot here, you can also put the coordinates here directly. So if I put in 50, then this will also work, right? And if you're doing that, this is the latitude, this is the longitude, north is positive, south is negative. Here, east would be positive, west would be negative. So if you're from the US, for example, this number, which is the longitude, that number would be negative because US is in the west coordinate. Language, again, you will have the languages available. We'll get to that later. For now, we just choose the one we want. All of them will be available if you enable it. So your users can change language. So they can look at your site in a different language. But here you specify the main one. In other words, the one that when I first time look at your site, this is what you will see. So you just click the one you want, right? So that's easy. So just click. In this case, I would select Czech. My page would then be in Czech. If I want English, there's actually two for English. One's for British English, one is for American English. So you just choose the one you want, or you can choose other ones, obviously. METAR. METAR is a four-letter code that airports have, and it's used for some forecasts. So there is a link here. If you go to this site, okay, hopefully, well, it's down now. Well, in that case, what you'll have to do is you just search this in Google, and you will find a page. You just find a page that lists them. Might be this one, but I think you probably know what I'm talking about. If not, just look up METAR, and the airport that is closest to you should have a four-letter code that you enter here. So, and it's always capital letters. So in my case, it will be LKTB. That's the airport here in Brno. So we have that. Next thing is general info. This is just for the meta tags, the meta tags in your HTML. So this is not really that important, and it's just for the search engines, stuff like that. So you just want to make sure you put your name, the author, short description, and your weather station model. So in my case, it will be WH1080. Next thing, solar sensor. Solar sensor is optional. It's the only sensor in the template currently that is not compulsory. It means if you don't have it, you can still use the template, but you have to make sure that you select here no in case you don't have one, or yes if you have one. If you don't have one and you select no, what's going to happen is, for example, on the statistics pages, all the fields and all the columns and tables and everything that has to do with solar radiation will be hidden. So and if you enable this and didn't have one, it could also cause errors in your database updates. So just make sure that you select the right option. If you have data from solar sensor, then click yes. If not, then click no. And we'll continue in the next video.